Well, I interviewed my next guest in the program when she was appearing in Crossroads at Chapel Off Chapel. South African-born Fem Belling is a sensational jazz vocalist, and she has exploded onto the Melbourne jazz scene. She has sung with many of the great jazz artists. She has sung in South Africa, London, Australia. She's an ARIA nominee and one of Australia's most in-demand jazz vocalists. It's my great pleasure today to welcome back to our program Fem Belling. Fem, lovely to have you back with us. How are you?
Ah, fantastic. What a lineup, Lee. What a lineup, a jam-packed show.
We do have. It's like that most weeks, Fem, and I'm so pleased that you are one of those stars that we have on today.
Oh, fantastic. So good to be here. It's all about warming our winter hearts with theatre and music and the arts at the moment.
Well, it is indeed, and we had you on the program a few weeks ago when you were appearing in Crossroads, as I said in the intro there, and you've got the most fantastic voice. Your voice in that show was just absolutely so strong and beautiful, and to know you're now heading into a cabaret of jazz and performing your own show with your violin and so on, this is going to be wonderful. And I see that it's your relationship and firming up with Irving Berlin and his music. Tell us something about the show that's coming.
So it's I was approached by the Recital Centre to put on an evening originally of the Great American Songbook. Now, I just adore, sort of the traditional. Of course, they're all musicals, as we know, and I've got this massive repertoire of that. And then I got a bit greedy, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to do Gershwin and Cole Porter and Irving Berlin, and I wanted to do some pay tribute to some of the artists that are inspiring me now, and all these things. And so I got a bit greedy, and I've changed everything, and it's going to be a tour de force of extraordinary composers and everything from Gershwin to Irving Berlin to a bit of Gregory Porter, a couple of originals of my own, and my new album is coming out, and what I've done on that album is I've taken very well-known pop songs and I've sort of put them in a time machine, if you will, and I've taken them back to the 1920s and 30s of jazz and the old music era.
Fem, you've got to make sure I get a copy of that because I'll play it on my program for you. That just sounds brilliant.
I teamed up with John Foreman.
Oh, wonderful!
He's come on board as my MD, and it's an absolute a joy. I'm really proud of what we've achieved, and it's beautiful. So this show is a sort of little one-off to try and to introduce a few of those songs and a few of the classics.
Well, you've got a great jazz background. You come from a jazz family, as it were, and you were very, very influenced, I remember you telling me last time, by jazz in your life. So you must love this. So we've got some of Irving Berlin coming in. You've got all those greats you mentioned, Gershwin, of course. What are you singing from Gershwin?
Well, I'm singing a few. I'm trying to do a few of the unheards. I mean, obviously there's some real classics in there, but a lot of the time as vocalists and performers, we tailor our shows and our music around what's popular. And I thought, well, what would be amazing is to learn some Gershwin tunes that I actually don't know. I mean, there's hundreds of songs out there of his that I actually don't know very well. We know all the big hits, and so I've put together a few things that I hope one of his songs that I've taken on board is A Little Jazz Bird. Now, it's one of his more unheard songs, but it's magnificent. It's real jazzy and fabulous. And then on the Irving Berlin side, I've taken a few from Annie Get Your Gun. Perhaps the road less travelled, shall we say.
All right. It sounds interesting. And you'll have your own slant on that. And, of course, a couple of your own original numbers, too. Do those originals appear on your album?
They will do, yeah. So the album is will be coming out sort of towards springtime. And there's a few sneaky tracks that I've posted up on YouTube, so to whet everyone's appetite.
I must have. I went to YouTube to get that intro for you now, and I didn't see any of those, so I must have a look. What's one of them titled?
Well, one of them is titled "Lose Yourself."
Okay, I'll look it up. All right.
And if you just pop to Fem Belling, I have a channel now. I'm there. I've gotten with the times, Lee.
Yeah, well, I've done much the same too. Yeah, we've got. But you're younger than me. I mean, so you're only about 20 years of age. I'm 106.
No, but sometimes, I mean, I come from a world where it's live theatre. I don't usually sort of do YouTube, and now, that's the currency. That's where things are
right.
at.
That's it.
So I'm embracing it completely.
And Fem, if we don't embrace it, we get left behind.
True.
I was saying to my wife the other day, what did we do before all of this technology was there? You go down the street, look, even in a theatre, even when you're going to perform next week on Saturday night and Saturday afternoon, you see people in the theatre on their phones, and they're all texting before the lights go down, and they're talking, they're texting, they're looking at Facebook. What on earth did we do before we had all of that technology?
Do you think we kissed more?
Oh, I think we might have communicated more. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
We had a little snow. But with that said, it's extraordinary how many opportunities have come to me from social media. People perhaps that have seen me, on The Voice or somewhere along the way, and they've gone, and it really just opens up these amazing opportunities, and it makes the world a little bit smaller, But yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
You mentioned The Voice there. What influenced you to go on The Voice?
Well, exactly what we're talking about. Back in the day, there used to be so many wonderful variety shows of entertainment where you could go on as an artist and get exposure to a nation. And that's how a lot of careers were launched. Certainly the James Morrisons and the John Formans were all on television shows. And now we've veered away from that. Sadly, there's not one, sort of variety show that features artists anymore. And I thought, well, bite that bullet and go on and use the platforms that are available to us, whatever we think about them. And I know a lot of people don't enjoy them, but I was exposed to a lot of people, and that's what you need to do in order to continue creating and making work.
Fem, you're spot on. One of my pet hates these days is all the reality television shows. And the TV channels will say, it costs so much to do live variety. But doesn't it cost a lot a day to do these reality shows?
Of course, but interestingly, society has obviously shown them that we much rather like to see things going wrong than we do things going right.
Yes, you're right. Well, I've got Deborah Byrne on later in the program today. And, of course, Deborah Byrne had her start on television. She did a solo recording of He's a Rebel back in, I think, 1975 from memory. And she appeared on what was, you probably wouldn't even know this, but the Graham Kennedy show in those days. And that really launched her as a solo performer, but we don't have those opportunities today.
Well, that's it. And, that's why I just encourage everyone to go out and support, local talents and artists that are around. I mean, what wonderful opportunity to, we live in a Netflix world now. I come from a generation that would rather have people sit at home and watch, watch someone sing on television and watch them sing in front of them, which is extraordinary and odd.
Well, let's hope we come right back to the stage, because it really is where it all happens. And I grew up that way. My grandmother, fortunately, took me to so much of stage productions in the 50s and 60s, and I was extremely lucky. Now, we can see you on Saturday the 16th of July. You're going to be in Melbourne in cabaret mode at the Melbourne Recital Centre. Now, there are two performances, one at 4 and one at 7.
That's right. I'm doing a sweet little matinee, so you can either come in, do a little show. It's before going out perhaps for some dinner, or a later show. And the musicians that I'm teaming up with on this I'm unbelievably honoured and so excited to work with them. I've got Luke Howard on the piano, who is such a celebrated, extraordinary musician. I have Ben Hanlon, who's a bass player from the MSO. And I have the phenomenal Danny Ferrugia with me on drums. So it really is going to be a phenomenal night of beautiful, beautiful entertainment. So, yeah, the Recital Centre, good on them for putting jazz in there. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they're converting the whole place to jazz. I think last weekend we had our first one of those, and you're coming up with the second one, which is wonderful. And I think Robin Archer is coming in too, with the other American songbook. All the best to you for a Saturday week at 4 and at 7 at night. Friends, you can contact the Melbourne Recital Centre for bookings. Tickets are $50, concession is $40. Go and see this young lady. She is absolutely fantastic, and her voice...
Thanks, Leigh.
Her voice is marvellous. It really, really is, Fem. Lovely to have you back with us. Let's keep in contact, and I'll get hold of that album as soon as it comes out.
Fantastic, and thanks for your support, Leigh.
That's
Always
a pleasure, Fem. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you very, very much. And she's there at the Melbourne Recital Centre. Please keep it in mind. Next Saturday, tomorrow week, the 16th of July, 4 and at 7 p.m.